Thank you, Mr Speaker. I rise tonight to mark the passing of the closest thing the Tasmanian Greens has to royalty, our Queen, the courageous, inspiring, intrepid and loving Melva Truchanas, champion of the wild places and widow of our greatest landscape painter, Olegas Truchanas. Melva died in the Whittle ward on the 11th of May after a brief illness, surrounded by her children Anita, Rima and Nicholas. Mr Speaker, she was 92 years old, active to the very end. In fact, a day before she fell ill, she attended a Tasmanian Plant Society meeting. Mr Speaker, one of the proudest moments of my life was when I was Minister for Women, and in 2013 had the great honour of inducting Melva Truchanas onto the honour roll of Tasmanian Women. And these are the notes on the honour roll website. Melva Truchanas was born on the 15th of January 1930 and moved to Launceston in 1940. As a teenager, Melva channelled her energies into the Girl Guides movement, the war effort and outdoor experiences. Following a year tramping in New Zealand, Melva married Olegas Truchanas in 1956, who had escaped from the carnage of World War II in Eastern Europe. When the Hydroelectric Commission planned to flood Lake Pedder, Olegas created a photographic presentation, Tasmania's Wild Southwest, adding to his educational lecture series. Melva joined the Southwest Committee and Lake Pedder Action Committee and cared for their family. The 1967 bushfires destroyed Truchanas' home and Olegas' slide collections, documenting 17 years of journeys into Tasmania's then little-known southwest. And I know that it was one of Melva's great regrets that when the fire was racing up the back of Forest Road where they lived in West Hobart, she was heavily pregnant and all she could think about was fleeing the fire, and Olegas got back after the fire had been through and he said, "Where are my slides?" And Melva hadn't saved the slides because she had to save her life and that of her unborn child. Melva and Olegas' son Nicholas was born as the Save Lake Pedder outcry intensified. With the bid to save Lake Pedder dominating their lives, Olegas sent about re-establishing his photographic collections. In 1972, Olegas drowned in a canoeing accident on the Gordon River. The original Lake Pedder was flooded that year. Melva raised her young family, working in university administration, kept her green ideals, volunteering, mentoring, and becoming a passionate member of the Lake Pedder Restoration Committee. Mr Speaker, in March this year, we marked the 50th anniversary of the flooding of Lake Pedder. We went out to Ted's Beach at Lake Pedder, and Melva, of course, because she always turned up. Melva arrived, she had a walking frame, and there's a little sort of sandy ledge there that you have to walk down to get on to Ted's Beach, and she's standing at the top of the little sandy outcrop wondering how she's going to get down, and my partner, Senator Nick McKim, said, "I'll catch you, Melva, you'll be right," and she goes, "Oh, Nick, the temptation is overwhelming." Mr Speaker, I thought I might also read into Hansard some of former Greens leader Christine Milne's words about Melva, a great friend of Melva's. Melva was a much admired, feisty woman who loved Tasmania's wild places and campaigned to protect them throughout her long life. She encouraged and supported young people to get involved and to get out and enjoy nature, especially the southwest wilderness. Over the March long weekend this year, it was particularly special to have Melva join us out at the Pedder impoundment to commemorate 50 years of campaigning to protect and restore Lake Pedder. Melva was full of optimism and made a special toast at the lunch to all the Pedder campaigners who've perpetuated the legacy of the lake and inspired a new generation of activists to fight for Tasmania's wild. It was also 50 years, Mr Speaker, since her husband, wilderness legend and photographer Olegas Truchanas, drowned whilst on a trip to photograph the lower Gordon River, also under threat from hydro-industrialisation. Melva was a member of the Launceston Bushwalking Club, where she met Lithuanian immigrant Olegas. The pair married in 1954 and explored the wilderness together on many bushwalking and ski trips, including at Cradle Mountain, which she loved. When Lake Pedder was threatened, they threw themselves into the campaign to save the jewel of the southwest. And Mr Speaker, before I came in here tonight, I went through my emails to have a look for some of the many emails that Melva always made time to send, and many people who loved Melva and love Melva will have received these messages that would come out of nowhere, and often at the time when you just needed to hear some affirmation. And one such time was after the vote on the Tasmanian Forest Agreement, where Melva made it very clear to the Greens in Parliament who'd voted for that agreement that she understood why we did it. She understood we did it for all the right reasons, and she supported us completely. But, you know, we send out a parliamentary report in the sitting weeks, and a couple of years ago, Melva goes, "Dear Cassie and Rosalie, thank you for your reports of the actions of Parliament and, of course, for your contributions. The general public would never know the quantity of work you maintain, nor of your successes without these. Certainly, we can't rely on the media to present them." After last year's state election, where there was a swing to the Greens, this message is, "Hurrah! That this precious island and its people are still in your caring and guiding hands, and looking forward to an increasingly successful future. Thanks to you both and your splendid teams." Hello, Rosalie. I so very much enjoyed meeting Adam Bant again last night. Your speech was marvellous, and Cassie's television ad is absolutely first class. I'm inspired to donate again. I want more. You have a wonderful organisation of volunteers. May we prosper. And then she went on to talk about a marine protection plan. She also went through the budget papers last year to point out a fact about the funding for the Office of the Coordinator General. So right up to the very end, Mr Speaker, the beautiful Melva Truchanas stayed green to her core, was a champion for this beautiful island's wild places, stood with those of us trying to defend it, always was there for a hug. I cannot quite believe she was gone. I know she was old, but I thought we might have her for a little longer. And in my office is a picture of Melva to inspire me every day in my work.
Thank you.